Alright, guys, let's talk about something that's been brewing in football for a while now, but it's finally hitting a boiling point. Now, who else has realized? But football is gradually becoming a toxic sport. It's slowly getting rid of its players, literally. Lately, we've seen more and more footballers hinting at strikes and boycotts. Rodri was the first big name to kickstart this conversation, and he's had support from stars like Courtois, Alisson Becker, Julius Conde, and others. Even managers like Guardiola, Arteta, and Klopp have voiced their concerns. Pep went as far as saying, "I've spoken with many senior players on this issue. I can tell you that it isn't going away." Players don't choose to speak out on issues like this without having given it a lot of thought. Pretty heavy, right? And honestly, until recently, this was unheard of. Sure, you'd get the occasional comment from a manager here or there, but now the conversation is everywhere. So, how did we get here? Declan Rice played 58 games last season for club and country, same with Kai Havertz, and these were before the Euros even started. But get this, Lautaro Martinez played 73 games in the 22-23 season, flying across multiple time zones. Now that's brutal. And Bernardo Silva, he is looking at potentially 85 matches this season. That's a game every 4 days. Every 4 days. But this madness doesn't even stop there. By his 21st birthday, Jude Bellingham had played 18,837 minutes of football. That's 5 times more than David Beckham at the same age. At 24, Vinicius Jr. had already played 344 games. To compare, Ronaldinho only had 162 games at that age. And Kylian Mbappe, he's played 37% more minutes than France legend Thierry Henry at the same point in his career. Honestly, it's not football anymore. It's a fitness test. Here's the ugly and obvious truth. More games mean more injuries. Look at Pedri. As a teenager, he was hailed as the next big thing, but playing 200 games so early on in his career nearly destroyed him. Remember that photo where he looked 30 years old? That was his 66th game in 322 days. Then there's Gavi, who suffered an ACL at just 18. We don't even know if he will return to his peak. And don't forget Ansu Fati, once seen as Barcelona's golden boy with €1 billion release clause, now struggling to rediscover his form after a meniscus tear. And it's not just the youngsters. OGs like Rodri and Dan Carvajal have both suffered season-ending ACL injuries after playing nearly 200 games in 3 years. It's not just bad luck, but it's the shadow. Even Rafael Varane retired from international football at age 31, saying, "I gave everything, physically and mentally, but the very highest level is like a washing machine. You play all the time and you never stop." So why is this happening? Well, one word, money, or as FIFA might call it, their one true love. Competitions are expanding like my waistline after Christmas dinner. UEFA added more Champions League games. FIFA is introducing a 48-team World Cup and 32-team Club World Cup. Clubs are doing pre-season tours halfway around the world right before their grueling campaigns. And in the case of Tottenham, they had to play a friendly match in Australia after a Premier League match. Or Barca, they had to play a friendly match in the USA right after a La Liga match. While organizations like FIFPro have called for changes like a 28-day mandatory rest period, they've been ignored harder than my text to my ex. It's not about the love of the game anymore. It's about squeezing every last dollar out of it. So what can be done? Well, in the short term, managers need to rotate their squad more. But good luck convincing fans when their favorite player is benched. Twitter will have a meltdown faster than a faulty reactor in Chernobyl. So what are some of the long-term fixes? Well, these are 3 big ideas from FIFPro, the organization that represents professional footballers. Number 1, cap the number of games players can play per season to a number between 50 to 60 per season. Number 2, limit stretches of back-to-back games. And number 3, protect the summer break. But realistically, none of this happens without one thing, a strike. And players are already pushing back. During the last international break, some conveniently picked up injuries and returned or remained at their clubs. Examples are Martin Odegaard, Saka, and 8 players from the Ghana national team. At the end of the international break, it was discovered that some of these players did things which are other than nesting their injuries. Of course, strikes are surface level stuff, but it's a good start. So why does all of this matter? Well, here's the bottom line. If this continues, football will lose its stars. The quality of the game will drop faster than my Wi-Fi during a live stream. And honestly, why would we even watch a match if the players aren't giving their all? Or worse, can't. Currently, there are a host of top stars in big teams that are injured, and their absence is seriously felt on the team. Look at Man City as an example. Rodri, Ruben Diaz, and recently Kovacic are all important first-team players that have been sidelined with injuries. KDB and Jeremy Doku recently returned from a long injury spell. Well, what have been the result of their absence? 1 victory in 8 games, the first in his career. Arsenal is struggling with a similar fate in the absence of Tomiyasu and recently Ben White. Martin Odegaard and Thomas Partey recently returned to the injury as well. Arsenal lost some valuable points in their absence. We're already seeing fewer explosive players like Gary emerge because the demands of modern football just don't allow for it. Injuries, mental health struggles, and burnout are becoming the norm. And for those of you saying players won't take pay cuts for fewer games, well, I've got news for you. Carlo Ancelotti did say that players are willing to do that. So yeah, the ball is in the court of the higher ups, and they're probably kicking it into the parking lot. So what's the solution? Will players actually strike? Can managers and unions force change? Do you think things will actually change? Let me know what you think in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because unlike FIFA, I actually care about you. I'm on Twitter too, same Bait Sports, so give me a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your needs. Trust me, they're priceless.